The Chernobyl disaster occurred in April 26, 1986. The Chernobyl disaster was the worst nuclear disaster ever recorded in history. This disaster was the product of a flawless Soviet reactor design combined with serious mistakes made by the plant operators. They had full control over the reactor. They were planning to test whether the turbines could produce sufficient energy to keep the coolant pumps running in the event of a loss of power. And to prevent any interruption of the power of the reactor, the safety systems were switched off. The reactor fuel elements ruptured and there was a violent explosion. It burned for 9 days. In result, huge quantities of radiation shot into the environment. The accident released more radiation than the deliberate dropping of a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima. The exponential function is where the value is always represented by e. Its domain equation is f of x is equal to 2 exponent of x. The reference point is where it intersects with the y-axis. It's usually 0,1. The domain of exponential function graph will always be negative infinity to infinity, no matter the equation given. The range will depend on its value of the equation given.
Nuclear energy delivers radioactive waste. This waste is very dangerous. It has a very high risk. Even if people take high security measures and precautions, accidents may still happen. It is impossible to build a 100% nuclear plant. Uranium is the energy source for nuclear energy. Uranium is very rare, so it makes it very expensive. As in Chernobyl, nuclear disasters are catastrophic. And with a nuclear plant, you may get this risk. The time needed to build a nuclear plant is estimated to range from 20 to 30 years. First the formalities, then the planning, and then the building. Building one in short time is nothing but a dream. What are the implications using nuclear energy? Do you consider nuclear energy to be clean? No, it causes a lot of damage to the environment, and people that are exposed to uranium for a long period of time may develop lung cancer and other respiratory diseases like tuberculosis. In addition to this, production of uranium fuel generates radioactive tailings and tons upon tons of liquid waste containing heavy metals and arsenic. Could the Chernobyl 1986 nuclear disaster have been prevented? How? Once the explosion happened, was there a way to stop the radiation spread its pollution? Well, there was no way to predict this accident or to stop the radiation, but there were some ways to contain it, at least on a national or continental level. As they have already done, a giant metal coffin was built on top of the plant containing the threat, not fully but to an extent where the radiation would not have spread any further than the area. But maybe it could have been prevented if there was better communications between the workers and if safety methods were well applied. Do you think that the radioactive pollution generated by this disaster reached Mexico? No, we don't think it reached Mexico. If the radiation even reached America, it would have reached northern parts, such as Greenland or Canada. However, it did reach other parts of Europe until Iceland. What are the consequences of the 1986 Chernobyl disaster? Many European countries suffered a lot due to the accident. Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus were the most affected. People died and they were affected in long term. Babies were born with deformity and respiratory diseases. The radioactivity of the plant spread quickly, damaging the environment. Our solution is to explore other sources of energy because nuclear energy can be very dangerous, and we think that the consequences are not worth it. But if nuclear energy plants are still available, we propose to have better communication between the workers and to safety methods to be better applied. We also propose to close this type of reactors and make new designs of power plants in which everything can be monitored in an easier way.